Hi everyone. I wanted to do a quick update on how the first week of One Book July 2019 is going, and it's going really well. This looks like it's a different notebook than the one I started with, but it isn't. I think I mentioned this in my video that I made this last weekend just gone, so just before One Book July started, that I was using a notebook from Paper Chase. This is part of said notebook, and I said that I might cut it in half, and I did. So it's made from various different signatures, which are threaded and glued together, and that it would be fairly simple to cut in half because all you need to do is find the end of a signature and just cut down the middle. So I did that this morning, and I covered the back because obviously the back would just be a page of the notebook, and I covered the spine and the front, and I don't know whether I'm going to do a video on this because it was a huge learning curve for me and it wasn't perfect, and I may film myself covering this one, but I don't know if it would make a good video, so I don't know if I will. So I'm not going to talk about covering the notebook today. But it is still the same notebook I was using, and at that point I think all I had done is written bullet journal 2.0, One Book July to whenever the end date is. If found, please call, and my phone number, which I write in all of my notebooks just in case they get lost. And I don't remember what else I had done. Maybe I had drawn the month or something. But I have done a few more pages and I'm quite pleased with what I did, but most of all I'm pleased with how well it's working. So I've read some of the book so far. What page am I up to? Page 37. And it's getting really grubby in my bag. I didn't want it to, but the first thing I did when I was sitting in a fast food restaurant eating my lunch was drip some of my drink on it. So, you know, I'm writing in it. It's going to get messy. It's being read and loved and enjoyed, unlike the vast majority of my other books, because I don't have time to read them. So that's the important thing. I'm still in the kind of introduction stage, well, at least in part 1. There's the index. I'm still in part 1 and I can't wait to get to part 2, but I am trying to not jump ahead. I have read the index, page 99, and bullets, page 65, because I was doing that part of the setup of my bullet journal. I'm just trying to press down the edge of the scrapbooking card here because it does unstick, which is one of the things that mean that I'm not 100% happy with the notebook cover that I've done, but I think it looks good. I like the leather. Anyway, so I'll show you what I've done with the bullet journal. I've stuck some old washi tape in here that I don't really like because I just want to get rid of it because it's not very good stuff, so I don't mind just using it up on sticking paper in here. And I'll talk about sticking paper in here in a minute. I've started my index. I'm not logging the weeks, or rather I'm not logging the daily logs, so at least not on this page, so that's why it doesn't look quite so busy as it could do, although really I haven't used many pages so far. So moving on, I might keep having a sip of my drink. I'm sorry if I do. I've got a cold and a bit of a sore throat, so I need to keep hydrated. Right, so here's July's month, and it's the normal monthly grid that I have always used because that is what works for me, and I cannot do the across the page version because this is what works for me. So I'm going to do a video, I think, further down the line on how I effectively plan using my bullet journal, because I did use a bullet journal a few years ago and it worked quite well for planning, and I did enjoy using it, except it was lined, it wasn't grid or dot grid, so I didn't actually enjoy the book itself, but I enjoyed the system, so I need to get back into using that system, and then I can show you on my current bullet journal how I effectively plan. So effectively, I'll say again, no, so basically what I do is I use the top box for the top line for any major events for the day, such as annual leave, someone's birthday, something that is a focus of the whole day. That Daisy arrives. We're adopting a lovely little rescue dog. I might do a video about her. I will undoubtedly record videos of her, and then I might pop them up on YouTube, but I would like to introduce you to her properly once she's settled in. So Daisy arrives could have gone on the top line, but I'd already written on the top line. The green dot means my mum's working, so I should try to start and finish work early so that I can come home and start doing some chores before she comes home, which is what these numbers correlate to. I try to fit something in every day, except a couple of days a month I have no jobs to do, so I'll tell you more about them in a second. I put some appointments in so that I know what I'm doing. I don't have a very busy forward plan for appointments. I hardly ever have any appointments. I work full-time Monday to Friday, and I don't bother putting that in because that is the norm. I only put in if I'm not working, because that is abnormal. And then if I have a specific to do on a specific day, I will put that in this column, and I will put, I believe they're called ticklers. So basically I use a star for to-dos or an asterisk for to-dos, and on the specific day when I have a task, I will put a star, and I know that means I've got a task to do that day, and I look over here to see what it is. The same as if I wasn't writing out what my appointment was, I would put a circle, which is my bullet point for appointments, and then I would look over here. If I run out of space on a daily square, I will probably start doing that on my monthly layout. And then I'm probably not going to use a weekly spread, so I'm going to need to use my monthly more effectively, because I put in a week on one page and I'm just not using it, because I'm not writing out my tasks because I'm using the numbers, and again I'll talk about that in a minute. But also then I start using the daily log immediately, so really because I have very little appointments, there's very little for me to put on here. Really I should be scheduling tasks that aren't for today, and also planning my hobbies, goals, projects and that sort of thing, but I haven't got into doing that yet. So I'm not going to use the week spread at the moment because it's just not being used. I'm going to try to use the monthly spread for that, but I may have to come back to it in the future, and I will show you what I've done once I've done it. So this is what I'm most pleased with. It's my daily log, and I don't use one page per day because some days it's very quiet. I am using the bullet system that I have used in all of the bullet journals I've used in the past, although it must be said that none of them were successful for very long. I used them for a few weeks to a few months. So that's why I'm hoping this project, this One Book July, will help me in the long term. So I use checkboxes to check off that I've done something, and I use effectively the end of an arrow, so the V shape of an arrow, to say whether it's something to be done today, which is a down pointing head of an arrow, in the future, which is pointing to the right, whether it's going into a collection, none of them here, but there is one. Into a collection is pointing to the left, and then I haven't designated what pointing upwards might mean. That's something that I can develop in the future. But I first started to draw the arrowheads in a box, and then I decided not to. So part of my reflection is that I will write in pencil my opinion about what I've done, i.e. whether I can improve it. So I've put, don't put these arrows in boxes. So I'm going to write on here, don't use a weekly spread until I actually need it. So I write out what, I need to write out. And I try to be as succinct as possible because I can easily write too much. And sometimes I elaborate on things. So, for example, I might have a task to do or to try something, and then I say what happened. So, for example, I tried to put cold turkey back onto my laptop and it just messed Firefox up. It wouldn't let Firefox stay open for more than about 30 seconds. So I wrote didn't work, so that I know in future why I wasn't able to load it on there again. I record things with a diamond shape. Again, little circles are appointments. Asterisks are to-dos, and I don't think I've got any other. Idea is an exclamation mark. But I don't know if I'm going to carry on doing putting down ideas, because really they should be tasks, because ideas can sit there for ages and not have anything done to them. I should really turn an idea into a task, so that I actually either investigate it, explore the idea, and that is a task to verb something, to think about, consider doing this, rather than just, I had an idea, and forget completely to do anything about it. And then I put this column on the right, which I saw, I can't remember whether, I think it might have been in a picture on Google Images about planners, or in a video or something. If I find out who it was, I'll put the link to the video, if it was a video, in the box below. But basically it's for me to write if I've scheduled something for the future, when I might do it. So for example, I wanted to cut this notebook in half. I finally decided to do it, and I decided to do that at the weekend. I ended up doing it this morning, so I just marked it as done, so I don't have to schedule it at the weekend anymore. I've then put a note here to say, see also this specific date, so that when I'm making my gym tracker spread, I have... Thank you! My mum's calling me for dinner. I also have a note here to add to my gym tracker. Sometimes I put an elaboration of some notes. I said, okay, I've been to a physio appointment, and I put some notes about the physio appointment. I try to be as succinct as possible, because I used to write quite a lot in my bullet journal pages, and I didn't like it because I couldn't find what exactly I needed to see, because the page was just full of writing. So effectively all I need to do now is look down the left hand column for any boxes. Hey, the cats are here. I'll show you them in another video because my room's not tidy. I need to look down the left column to see if there are any boxes that haven't been checked off, and then I can see what that task was. So if I needed to schedule something in the future, the box would be empty if I hadn't scheduled it yet. If the box is empty for a task to do today, the box would be empty and I really need to get on with it because I need to do it today. I don't put a checkbox for things that I'm recording here in the actual bullet journal spread because they're not something that I have to transfer elsewhere. But if I decide that I'm going to make a tracker, for example, for if I had a whole sequence of physio appointments, I might make a physio notes page or a physio tracker, and then I'll just create, I'll put a left arrow to say transfer and to a collection, and then I'll put a checkbox to indicate that I haven't yet done that. If there's a task that I haven't done today when I was supposed to do it, I'll put an arrow to say carry forward, and then once I've finally done it, I will then mark it off. Or perhaps once I've carried it forward to tomorrow or another day and I've checked it off, and I've actually carried it forward, I will mark it as checked. And then once I've done it the next day, I tried to put a backwards arrow, but I forgot to do that there, so I drew it in later. And once I've done it, I will then check it off. Here's my future log, because in my file of facts, for example, I would have every month in the future year. So if it was July, I would have all of the rest of the months of the year here, and I would be able to schedule my tasks immediately. But I haven't drawn them in, so the rest of the months of the year. So instead, I've got a future log. So I decided to do the first column to be the month, or here the year, and then the day, because at a glance, when I'm looking for things I need to schedule for the next month, I want to see the month and not the date to start off with. So if I'm looking for all the August ones, I can quickly find all the August ones instead of having to go, oh, it's the 17th of what? Oh, August. I'm not looking for August, I'm looking for whatever month. Once I've scheduled the task, I can tick it. And here I've tipped in a yearly calendar for the rest of the year, or this is a 6-month calendar for the rest of the year, so that I can circle when I've actually got a task on a specific day. So if somebody were to say to me, Kate, let's go out for the whole day, I would say, oh, hold on, it looks like I've got something to do, and on the 17th of July I've got to cancel my mobile phone contract so that I don't get charged for the next month. And so then I can decide, looking at this, oh yeah, that's fine, I can do that first thing in the morning, and then I can go out all day. Or whatever it is. On the 11th of November, I'm going to see my favourite singer in concert, so that's exciting. Here's the current page, although I've nearly finished it. It's got lots of tasks that I need to schedule for the future. One I need to do today, I've done that, so I need to check that off. Another one I've got to do today. So easily I can see, if I need to see what I need to do today, I just look at the downward arrows and I know instantly that I need to do those things before the end of the day. And I didn't make dinner because I went in the shower and my mum came home, so I need to cross that off. And I don't know how I'm going to cross it off because I want to mark the action as cancelled, and I haven't really decided how to do that yet. I might put a big cross through it, so from outside the box, so a giant cross, but I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. I don't think I'm going to really talk about this now. I will talk about this in a future video, like I said, when I've got my planning system down. But basically, this is a month template. It's not for any particular month. It's week 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's obviously not a whole month, but it's a 4-week block where I mark out at the beginning of the year which weeks are week 1, 2, 3 and 4, and also A and B, because I call my work week, which is on a fortnight rotation, whether it's A or B. B's are busy, A's are quiet. So that when I go over to my calendar, I put the tasks in there because I have marked on my, or rather on my monthly grid, I have marked whether it's week 1, 2 or 3. And then I can just assign the tasks to that specific day of week 1, 2, 3 or 4. So effectively they are, I keep saying effectively, it's the word of the day. They are tasks that I don't do every day, but that I have to do at some point, either on specific days of the week or specific days of the month, or when my mum is working or not working. And I'll talk about that more in the future. When I've got a temporary page that I don't want to have in here permanently, and I will talk about that in the future more because I'm running out of time, or something that I'm not ready to record in my book yet because I haven't finished, for example, deciding which bullets to use, I stick paper in, but this washi tape is not very good, so it's falling out, and there's some more paper, and I think that's it. So yeah, that's the update for this time so far. I'm sorry it took so long. It took 21 minutes to talk about a few pages, so I won't talk about those pages again. I will only talk about what I've done recently once I do my updates in the future. But I do like using it. It is helping me so much more than my system before, because I didn't have a system. I wasn't really using a planner at all. So thank you for watching. I will come back at some point in the future. I'm not going to make any promises because I tend to not stick to them. But I will tell you what I have done to improve my system when I make another video. And thank you for watching. If you've got any questions, please post them below. Bye.